Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. All right, I'm coming at you with some stuff here, and I forgot to turn my volume up. Okay, I'm coming at you with some stuff here. The man you're looking at right now is a family man, a man concerned about his family. We call him Ice Cube. All right. This guy was looking for a way, an opportunity to help the community as a whole. All right. In doing that, he received the vitriol of, and we're talking about the so-called black community, of black women, their minion, that means other black men, for even suggesting that he should reach out to anyone he can to try to help a community he loved. The problem being, he loved the community that did not love him. Like most good Afro men that's trying to do the good thing for the entire community. I was speaking to a young brother about Brazil and how they have a lot of pictures of our assassinated heroes like Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, why aren't there any black women? Because we were talking about the image that Brazil has, the people down there of the Afro man of America, of the United States. And one of the things that I really thought about is you had Michael Jackson, you had a lot of our 60 revolutionary men, and I said, well, what's the difference? That was a good question. Why are there not any so-called black women on these murals from the United States? They have murals of black women, just not ones from the United States. And I was like, this is an excellent question. Why is this? Then the answer came to me. The guys that were on these murals were dudes that had created the cause for the community as a whole. So these were individual men that got an idea and said to themselves, this is for the entire community. But almost every major black woman, celebrity, and or trailblazer, that people tout up about some issues where they did not look at things in the scope of the community as a whole. They only looked at things in the scope of black women only. And when it wasn't black women only as far as the Afro community, but when they was looking as a whole, then they included Caucasian women. And then the LGBT people. They included everybody else but the Afro community. The outside world sees this, and that's why they're not on any walls. Because when you talk about the entire Afro community, man, woman, children, family, it includes the descendants of slaves in every country that has them, they identify with that. But when you talk about what the black women wanted, and that's power, they don't identify with that. That's why when you go somewhere, you do not see political figures until Obama, and that's because everybody was shocked that a black man could be president. So that's why when you go to these places, you'll see our icons like Martin Luther King. You'll see even sports icon, but you won't see black women as far as those that are looking up to black culture. And I showed y'all pictures all over Brazil. Now, that's kind of a long kind of intro into a video of mine. But those that know my channel, y'all know stuff is about to get real up in here. All right. So let me present to you why we as the Afro men got to watch our backs. But before I do that, let me greet everybody. Verwoorden hardu gudag ola oi te de bang, vasas los bonjour mes amis. Keru bawani konnichiwa. Ni hao, ni ama, sani bonani, jumbo harbayagani, assalamu alaikum and shalom. To donate to my channel and to help us out, my Cash App will be in the description box. Also in the description box, you will also find my BitChute, because we're going to kind of dive out of YouTube, because once all this is over and they're sure that Trump is not going to be in, they understand that YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter will not be investigated by those that are left. This means the crime of taking away our voices, freedom of speech, the crime of silencing, and they've already done this, but they were being investigated for it. Now they could do it with the surety that at least for the next 4 years that they will not be investigated. There will not be a platform in any major news making area like Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Period. Which is why I'm move these videos to BitChute. All right. Now, if you'd like to still help me in what I do for the community, although this is going to be more concentrated in Brazil, because I'm headed that way. All right. My Cash App will be in the description box. And by Brazil, that means I help the brothers that come down there. And any brother that's been down there that ran that is from my channel, they will tell you that. Okay. So my Cash App will be in the description box along with my PayPal. All right. And don't forget to, for as long as I'm here, thumbs up and share. All right. So let's roll on. For the Afro men that think critically, we are going to definitely need to look out for Fefail revenge. This is on all levels. Only the difference is they will be emboldened because they now have more than a 911 apparatus against us. They have against us 2 individuals that have never in their political history given any justice to the Afro men. As a matter of fact, the 2 individuals that black men voted for, along with the Fefails, did worse than not give us justice. They were the most unjust of all the people that were running to us in their entire history. Of all the people that were running. And that means this documentary by Dennis Mueller. All right, I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is important. Because now and this is my opinion based on what they've been doing since we've been growing up. For you brothers that's growing up under this and understand, they've been trying to destroy the good heterosexual Afro man and silence us on a permanent basis so that we couldn't warn our sons for a while. Now, the betrayal, not only by them, but simps and the moist-minded, is complete in that they put in office the people that I will show you. But I want you to listen to these words. All right? I want you to listen to these words as I shoot this. All right, hold on. And here we go. Pay attention. This is the goal of the FBI. It still is. The Democrats ran it then. The Democrats are running it now. Remember, they did not investigate all the pedophilia that was on Biden's son's thing. They did not investigate the ties that Biden had financially to the Chinese and how he was selling them out with his office. They sat on that laptop.
This country has never cared about black people. That's right. They don't give two damns about us. And all of us always turn around worrying about what's good for America, what's good later for America, what's good for black people.
I know they're going to say not guilty, because no one saw them pull the trigger. I'm tired of that. Don't bow down anymore. Hold your heads up. You want our freedom now. I don't want to have to go to another anymore. Tired of children. Tired of it.
Notice there's not that compassion in the Afro man today.
We must also realize that the problems of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of political and economic power.
If you can't do for yourself what the white man is doing for himself, don't say you're equal with the white man. Right. If you can't set up a factory like he sets up a factory, don't talk that old equality talk.
All right, so understand this. Understand the passion that they had for the community. All these people would have never voted for the Democrats. And they were all assassinated by the Democrats. Because the powers that be, the FBI, Hoover's FBI, understood that if you assassinate them, let the black women raise the children alone and empower her to throw the man out, that the children will grow up not having passion. When a president starts shutting down pedophile rings and people start finding and going into Georgia and finding all those pedophile rings and shutting them down, child trafficking rings and shutting them down. So the Afro people that say they run Georgia, that's the kind of stuff that they're in support of, in my opinion. Because even with this news, they buried their head in the sand like it didn't exist. But we're not done yet. This dude was popular with so-called black people when he was pushing the thug, drug, man-kissing thing on TV. He was popular. But as soon as he developed a mind and decided to think, who came out against him? And here's the sad part. The so-called hard dudes that think they hard, but they so soft in the head that they could be pointed out as hypocrites. They follow behind the woman. They don't lead nothing. They follow the woman because they don't lead nothing. So at the end of the day, they were upset that this dude thought critically and quite frankly about his money. Now, this is going to be a deep one. So let me just put this on real quick. Let me see how many minutes. The Sound of the Dollar. That's the name of this tune, right? And I want y'all to pay attention to this. And I'm going to let it play for a second.
We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots.
I learned a lot. And I learned that and Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
If Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot. Is it because blacks are involved in Haiti?
It was old media that got him in trouble. Personal comments he made about another White House hopeful, Senator Barack Obama.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
We have this notion that somehow if you're
Oh,
poor,
that wasn't
you
racist.
cannot
Putting
do
black
it.
people back in
Poor
chains.
kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP's endorsed me every time I've run. The one, I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
Come on, baby, let's investigate.
Joe has a terrible history in the black community, and everybody just loves him because he's the fluffy old guy.
Former Vice President Joe Biden, he's run for president twice before, unsuccessfully. He's never before been the front runner. Now that he is towering over all the other declared Democratic candidates, his almost 5 decades in public life are getting some real scrutiny. On top of that list, his record on civil rights during his younger days as a U.S. Senator. CNN's Jeff Zeleny has exclusively obtained some letters written by Biden himself.
Joe Biden is coming back as a solo act.
I'm ready to go.
With his long record facing a new look under the spotlight of the 2020 campaign.
Gentlemen and ladies of the Senate.
One chapter receiving fresh scrutiny comes from his earliest years in the Senate, when he strongly opposed mandatory school busing. It was designed to achieve integration and a more equitable education. What's less known is how he followed the lead of some of the Senate's most fervent segregationists. In a series of never-before-published letters reviewed by CNN, the strength of Biden's opposition to busing comes into sharper focus. On March 25, 1977, Biden wrote, "My bill strikes at the heart of the injustice of court-ordered busing. It prohibits the federal courts from disrupting our educational system." Biden sought and received support from Mississippi Senator James Eastland, the Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and a leading symbol of Southern resistance to desegregation. He frequently spoke of blacks as, quote, an inferior race. Eastland and others were partners on several of Biden's anti-busing bills. On June 30th, 1977, Biden wrote, "Dear Mr. Chairman, I want you to know that I very much appreciate your help during this week's committee meeting in attempting to bring my anti-busing legislation to a vote." Then in 1978, Biden again asked Eastland to put his anti-busing bill before the full Senate, writing, "Your participation in floor debate would be welcome." Ronnie Dunn is a professor at Cleveland State University who co-wrote the book Boycotts, Busing, and Beyond.
Now, let me say something here. You see how they reported this? Then when he won, the Democrats said, don't report anything else on Biden. And wow, for 4 years, almost, they kept hammering the fact that Trump did something wrong, and they took everything out of context. But they did this once during the primary, then hid everything once he won. Why? Because they understood that many Afro, you know what they call us, would not look into this. When people put it before their face, they would close their ears to it because they're voting for this guy one way or another because the news media told them to hate the other guy. Think about that for a second. This is a party and a group of people that have always called us the N-word. They do it under their breaths and they do it in their groups. We get one dude that's not a politician. Everybody despises him for not being a politician. And then everybody gets hurt over him not speaking politely in general. Oh, and because they worship idols, they don't appreciate him talking about their idols. It's because LeBron James is many people's God in the black community. Better be careful about that. But the commandment said, thou shalt not have any other mighty ones before his face. The Most High said that. Should not bow down and serve them or worship them. But we got people that worship athletes. And now they're angry because their athletes got called out for not knowing anything by somebody who knows maybe a little more. Oh, but they're running the country. Think about that. In the meantime, we are receiving threats. We, the hetero Afro men that are more concerned about the community, our children. All right, let's get more specific. Our ability to have and raise a family where we get to teach our sons, especially, and daughters, what the Most High want us to. All right, we have been put under threat by the Democratic Party group of black females, starting with Maxine Waters. And trust me on this, when she said she'll never forgive Afro men for voting for Trump, that's a threat. And it's a threat where she could try to make the lives of Afro men through policy miserable. But a lot of weak-minded are glad and jumping up and down for joy that they won. All right. You want it, you're going to get it. All right. The whole community that thought the Black Lives Matter organization was something just got pimped and slapped by Soros, a Caucasian man, and a bunch of other Caucasians. The main people running around destroying property were Black Lives Matter and Antifa, but they consisted probably upwards into the 80% of Caucasians. Think about it, because it's easy to play suckers. And now you got thugs running around mailmen running around destroying Trump ballots, thinking they're doing something for the Democratic Party, and many of them are about to go to jail. This has happened all over the place. But CNN, George Stephanopoulos, and those liars are trying to say, oh, this stuff never happened. And we're watching people do stuff on Facebook. Oh, but then you send PolitiFact, who's been lying, outright lying the whole time, to say, oh, the stuff you're seeing is not really real. But they've been liars the whole time. So when we see that, we probably figure, no, this stuff is true, because PolitiFact is trying to tell us it's not. All right? So you got people burning ballots, throwing them in the garbage, and all the rest of this stuff. Right? But here's the thing. All this is moot. And, you know, this is George Silva via Facebook. So a lot of people was catching a lot of people doing stuff to Trump ballots. All right. ABC is trying to wish it away. CNN is trying to wish it away. But where it is important to us as Afro males is that there was a concerted effort to get rid of somebody that would investigate the crookedness of this country. Then the Afro people who are despised by the black women, because we know this, we get this treatment every day. We got certain sisters that look out for us, and we got the backs of those sisters, because guess what? Those sisters are going to get hell from those black women. So we got to protect them. We got to be around enough to protect them. We financially too, because many of these so-called black women will try to destroy a sister. And the sister ain't them Hotep clowns either. They're the main ones. Remember, the Hotep females think they're goddesses or God and only desire worship from males. And so they're going to give it up for the male that she can control. That's the moist-minded, the moist towelettes. But the ones that she can't, all right, they're going to be on that bandwagon. So you think you've been set up by 911 now. Now wait till Kamala Harris, who put innocent men on death row and refused to take them off, hid evidence that showed that they were innocent. Oh, now she's the vice president. Maybe. All right? Y'all, this is about to get crazy for us. So y'all got to get bug out bags, or you better find a Republican area to move to. If you stay in the Democratic area, you're never going to be able to live in peace. You're always going to have to watch your back. Period. If you have conservative values and believe in family and move in a Republican area around other conservative Afro men that believe in family, not only do you have peace, but you have a fighting force that could protect the community. Like if somebody want to drive by, yeah, we could do that too. You understand? Because there are a lot more of us than people think. The ones that believe in the Second Amendment right and will use them to protect our friends and our family. It's just that we don't have many friends. And these parties were hell-bent on destroying family. But those that have family and those of us that have looked and saw we were more like than not because of our spirituality, we are a force to be reckoned with when we're consolidated. Remember, at the end of the day, they don't like you nor want you. They just want to use you. And if they get with you, it's just your turn temporarily. You need to find someone other than them, is because even while you're asleep, they're still going to consider you the enemy. And you say in a movie, sleeping with the enemy. We as Afro men have no justice left in this country. And I warned y'all. All right? I said you either have 4 years or 8. But you have only until the time that Trump is gone, because he's the only one that will investigate these things that are against us. With that said, I'm out. This is a no depolicing zone.